Distortion Detective, Chapter 1. I Can See the Distortion. I can see the distortion, and the distortion can occur to anyone. I don't exactly know who coined the term distortion for the phenomena, but people just started calling it that at some point. No one knows how it works, but the experience so far suggests that this phenomena is a manifestation of strong emotional desires and explosive surges of feelings. The pianist, who or rather which wreaked havoc on District 9, is known as one of the most notable cases of the distortion. Not many are aware that smaller cases of the distortion are happening here and there across the city even now. A person turning into a fish and another one's eyes being dyed with the hues of the sky are two such examples. The distortion appears to me as visual distortions in a literal sense. Although I can see them, they aren't tangible. In the case of the person whose upper body gradually turned into that of a fish, I could clearly observe scales growing on their body. Yet, when I touched their skin, I could only feel the soft sensation of a normal human skin. Hearing this much, one might think that the distortion is merely an illusion. Well, that would mean I'm simply delusional and suffering from hallucinations. However, I've taken up this job because that is not the case. I am chasing after the distortion. It's secretive yet explicit, and it proceeds slowly. For example, the fish person I mentioned earlier, who was dubbed the merfolk, underwent gradual changes, such as having their eyes protrude, gills appear, and scales grow out of their skin. When their upper body almost completely morphed into the form of a fish, the change physically manifested in a moment's notice. Only then could others see what had become of the merfolk and physically feel the fishy features of their body. The merfolk, case number 5, was originally a villager in District 19's fishing hamlet who was subject to constant abuse. It seemed that they spent most of their time staring into the great lake, yearning to escape from their current life. My conclusion is that they desired to be free from their agonies and saw the lake as a getaway, and that strong longing for water ultimately distorted them into the merfolk. Of course, there are many other complicated factors involved, but I'll omit the details since the merfolk is not the main subject of my story. My work is to look out for cases of the distortion and prevent them. In fact, the progress of the distortion varies for each person. Ever since I gained this ability to see omens of the distortion with my eyes, I cannot see a single person who is not distorted in one way or another. Once again, I don't have a deeper understanding of the phenomena or anything. I simply started seeing it one day, and could notice it earlier than others. Since I can see the signs in advance, I do my best to warn people to take preventative measures before it manifests. That is my job. I was hired by a firm that had lost several of its staff to the so-called Ascension incident, and sought out the employees whose eyes were filled with the sky's colors. The firm advised them to wear sunglasses. The idea to give them sunglasses so that they couldn't keep the scenery of the sky in their eyes was so outlandish, it made me chuckle. The sky no longer being blue for them didn't have much positive impact on their boring lives, but at least they didn't evaporate anymore. The people who used to look up at the sky started looking down instead. Perhaps they still wanted to get closer to the sky by going up to the rooftop. Or maybe they were just one of the many who choose to jump to death. The city isn't too interested in what happens after a case has been solved. All they need to know is if the deaths were understandable or not. I'm not a charity worker, so I don't bother looking into cases of the distortion I wasn't asked to investigate either. Case 13. Balloon People. This case was rather explosive. I titled this case Balloon People because people's heads quite literally expanded like balloons until they went pop. This cold explosion would cover everything within a 10-mile radius with blood and blow to pieces everyone in its range as well. A company in Ocorp's Nest finally asked for my help after suffering 5 instances of those balloon people. After some investigation, I found out that all occurrences of this distortion had one thing in common. They all worked in the service industry. To interpret a distortion, you need to combine multiple pieces of evidence. This process consists of 4 steps: cause, explanation, understanding, and acknowledgement. First, investigate the possible causes of the distortion and construct a clear explanation that covers the causal relationship in a convincing manner. Then, make the subject understand why they are going through the distortion and have them acknowledge that they could fully distort at this rate. If all of these steps succeed, the case is closed. The distortion is considered solved if the subject regresses to a form that looks human enough to me. Those who became the balloon people used to work in emotionally intense fields, such as delivery carriers, nurses, and call center clerks. Particularly, call center clerks had the largest average explosion radius of 16 meters. Some inquiries revealed that another company had subcontracted all customer service calls to one call center. The clerk's job was to record the claims from clients and send those records to that company. The problem lay in this process. The call center clerks lacked any expertise in the subjects of those complaints, yet they had to endure heaps of insults from their clients, even though there was no use lashing out at them. The clerks were treated like emotional garbage cans, hearing all kinds of abusive language and even threats from clients. Service workers are compelled to put on a smile and a cheery voice while being a punching bag for others, having no way to vent out their own distress. Such stress would naturally accumulate over time. This resulted in their heads inflating like balloons, all while they maintained a facade of serenity. They'd end up exploding once their stress reached a breaking point. From that point, my work is simple. I made a list of clerks whose heads appeared inflated to me and sent that to the company. Those clerks then lost their jobs. The company didn't bother investing any time or effort into shrinking their heads. My work often ends before I can enter the stages of understanding and acknowledgement. Simply interpreting the distortion doesn't resolve the fundamental issue. Their stress is bound to explode in one way or another. However, such matters didn't concern my clients much. All they cared about was maintaining this abnormal status quo and evading responsibility for the distortion, not the cause behind it. I suppose the same can be said of me. I can't help but keep thinking that we are all missing something important. I believe I'll be chasing after the distortion for a while, as every single thing appears distorted to my eyes. Right now, I am looking into a mirror. To my eyes, I'm the only one who doesn't appear distorted. In a world full of distorted people, could the one person who remains unchanged be the distorted one? As I look at all the distorted people, the distorted streets, and this distorted city, I come to think that maybe the whole world is distorted. I can't fathom what would happen once the distortion of this world continues and reaches a critical point. Until then, I'll stay ever vigilant for the distortion. I am the Distortion Detective. Chapter 2: Self-Contradiction. You idiot! I quietly murmured, grinding my teeth. Ezra had done it again. I told her numerous times not to ask sensitive questions to the subjects of the distortion. Ezra then whispered to me, Detective? Detective, what do we do?" "Oh, sorry, Chef. My niece isn't very streetwise yet, you see. Oh, you lovely young sprout. What do you mean with detective? Are you seeing stuff again? Poor little thing."
Huh. So you were just a couple of nut jobs. If you disrupt my business with bollocks again, I'm gonna call security.
The master chef yelled, although this restaurant was too small and shabby for such luxurious titles. "Yes, I'll teach my little gal here to behave." Are you insane? Did you really have to say out loud, "Wow, the food here is just as disgusting as the sanitation. Who taught you to cook?" in a small restaurant that's not seeing too many guests? But it really did taste horrible. You think we're here to enjoy the food? You're supposed to carefully look around for clues. Just cram the food in your mouth before the chef finds us suspicious.
This food has got to be the cause of the disappearance. I bet the revolting taste drove them crazy, made them wander off.
I'm cutting your salary
What?
by 25%.
What? Detective? Please?
I took a pipe out of my inner coat pocket. The case may be stuck for the moment, but it should end well somehow. With such optimism, I started smoking. I'm a fixer from District 14, a decently experienced Grade 5, currently working for 7, the association specializing in intelligence and investigation operations. I solve mysteries for a living, though most of these unsolved cases are about the distortion anyway. The city seems to be mostly clueless about the distortion. I simply jumped into this budding niche earlier than others, thanks to my cursed talent, seeing people's distortions.
So what did the chef look like to you, Detective?
The lower half of their body was that of a snake, and hands were attached on its tails. It had about 7 tails, if I remember correctly.
Ew! What about their upper body? Was it human?
Yep, I could see a human in a filthy chef's uniform.
Does that mean the distortion has progressed by about half? Maybe it'll manifest in a week or so.
It could very well happen tonight, judging from the circumstances. The mouth on one of the tails was salivating and twitching quite intensely.
Anyway, we're dealing with a reptilian, right? Let's see. A Stigma Workshop product could work.
You always pick expensive gadgets. The pattern of the distortion has been changing lately. The manifestations are getting faster. No, to be precise, the distortion has started to manifest even while people are unconscious. That's right, their bodies distort in their sleep. This seems to happen with the people who are half distorted, from what I can see. A sloppy monster can only cause sloppy trouble. The spy organization gave my office a request. People have been disappearing at night inside a certain hotel in the area the association has been safeguarding. Recording was forbidden in the back streets of District 14, so there's no video footage available. The hotel only has two entrances, the main gate and the back door through the kitchen. None of the missing guests were seen leaving through the main gate. The hotel wasn't assaulted by a syndicate either, which was obvious considering that the Zwei were in charge of that area.
Detective! Detective! Maybe something's really up with the kitchen.
Its chef was the most distorted person around, so it's plausible. The sun sets and night falls. We infiltrated the hotel restaurant. The fairy I spent a fortune on enters the keyhole and opens the door for us. Sometimes, singularities feel much more like monsters than the half-baked creatures born from the distortion.
Wow! Are they having a party or something?
What are they eating? Under a red light, skinless hunks of flesh were sitting around a table, eating something. The only dish on the table was something that looked like a large leather sack. They each grab something from the sack and eat it. The putrid smell stings my nose. My mind falters for a moment. Turn around. Do not look at that thing they're eating. Don't breathe.
This is driving me mad, Detective. But it looks so cozy in there. It looks like a bedroll.
You'll be eaten and turned to manure once you get in that bedroll. Ezra was completely entranced. I smacked her in the chest as quietly as I could.
Ugh!
I gave Ezra a handkerchief so she could cover her nose. Keep it tight. We're heading to the kitchen now. Leaving behind the feast, we crawled toward the kitchen. A long line of people waited in front of it. Those were people reported to be missing. They entered the kitchen one by one, and then human-shaped flesh hunks walk out, each carrying a leather sack. They bring it to their table and eat from it. The food that bewitches people. Huh. What could they be eating, Detective? It's time to find out. Get ready, assistant. Ezra took a Stigma Workshop sword out of her bag. I pulled out my smoking pipe. The door leading us to the kitchen is wide open. People lining up their sack pay no attention to us. They're simply mumbling to themselves. We proceed slowly. We're going in. I can hear the sound of kitchenware at work. The chef is busy cooking something, holding multiple cooking utensils with the hands that are on their tails. What could they be cooking? What are they feeding those people with?
Detective, people are bowing to the chef to show their heads. The chef is splitting them open and taking something out. It doesn't look like a brain.
They aren't extracting the brain itself. They're pulling something out of it. Could it be thoughts?
How is that possible?
That's what the distortion is all about. Unseeable things are materialized.
That means they're giving away their thoughts to the chef, so the chef can cook them. And
the chef also peels their skin to use as a sack. That's pretty wicked. My eyes met the chef's gaze.
Hey, you're the insane bunch I saw earlier today. If you want to eat, then line up. The taste's gonna be nothing like the stuff you ate before.
What are you feeding these people?
I'm giving them what they want. I cook thoughts. People these days don't even know what they're thinking, so they need someone else to cook those thoughts up and feed them.
You've already killed people.
A case of the distortion that is capable of murder would be, according to the standards our office set up, a risk 3 level distortion. Kill? They aren't dead. They're having a feast, don't you see? Ordinary food isn't enough to make people happy anymore. You gotta know who you are and what kind of world you're living in to truly savor the flavor.
This is almost like a cheap urban myth. You've gone too far.
Whoa! Detective! The fleshy things in the restaurant all came in here! You just haven't tried it yet. I'll show you how your thoughts taste.
Ezra, take them down. The Stigma Workshop sword emits an orange glow. The wire on its blade heats up. Each time Ezra swings the sword, one of the hunks of flesh falls to the floor. The heated wire leaves beautiful symbols through the sections it slices, a trademark feature of Stigma Workshop's products. The smell of burnt meat soon fills the kitchen. A sentient case of the distortion that willingly harms others is ultimately subjected to termination. We sometimes encounter distortions that we can't take down on our own, but most of them can still be dealt with in some manner. This kind is especially simple. Have you tried your own cooking, then? Self-contradiction. Distortions that damage others while claiming to care for them are bound to face irony. So you're feeding others with a dish you haven't even tried yourself? What makes you so confident in its taste,
My cooking has to be tasty. All the customers look sad and sulky, even when I serve them with the most delicious food before. It's because they didn't think for themselves.
You can tell if the food is tasty just from a person's face? Someone who doesn't try their own cooking isn't a real chef.
Fine. I'll eat it. I'll eat my own food.
There we go. That's the spirit of a true chef. The chef split open their own head. They put their hand into their brain and pulled out something glowy. As soon as the chef was done taking all the thoughts out, they collapsed onto the floor. Just like that, the chef passed away before they could taste their own thoughts.
Detective, I took care of them all.
I'm done with my share too.
Should we contact the Spy Association now?
Yeah, just write up a short report. They won't believe all this fuss about cooking thoughts anyways. I'll go get some sleep first.
Got it. Good morning, Detective Moses. You're a bit later than usual today, huh?
Oh, yeah. The line at Hamam Pang Pang today was long. I guess everyone wants to check it out since it's the first to open in the north of the city.
Ooh, Ham Ham Pang Pang. Did you get some for me too?
Yeah, got one for you too, just in case. You like mustard, right?
Heh. Mustard flavor's great. Ah, the Zvi sent us the reward just now.
That quick? It only took them a day. I bet they scammed the paperwork.
Anyway, to sum up this case, it was about an unappreciated cook who wanted to bring joy to people in their own twisted way.
It was a crude story. We've had to deal with the distortion on our own a lot more often these days, now that I think about it.
Why are the Wings and the other associations so passive about it? Monsters are actually appearing.
Because none of them were noteworthy enough to even be an urban plague. Well, the pianist being the sole exception.
Still, shouldn't someone do something about this? It's like a ticking time bomb.
I'll bet a lot more people die to syndicates than to the distortion.
By the way, you're not actually going to cut my salary, are you? That stupid chef's food really was the cause.
Psh. Try using that good memory for something better.
I can hear you!
Psh. Try using that good memory for something better.
I can hear you.